Welcome to Unemployed and Afraid, a podcast that explores the glorious mess of building your own business with the people doing it. I'm your host and fellow business builder, Kim Curtin. Thank you for being here. Let's get into some good, honest, small business chat. If you are needing some uplifting, inspiring, vibey story sharing about going the distance in business, this episode has absolutely got you. Kerri-Ann is a high-energy human that exudes the positivity and commitment to self-mastery required to build a business that can withstand the inevitably changing market conditions and also the changing internal conditions as we continue to grow to become the person capable of achieving our dreams, whatever they are. In the sharing of Kerri-Ann's business building story, you're going to hear about working through a slow cash flow cycle, building a business by pounding the pavement, how to keep yourself motivated every single day, what it means to have no plan B, and the power of colour in your personal brand. Let's get into it. I'm here with the perfectly on brand with Unemployed and Afraid Orange, Kerri-Ann Hooper, Director of Carnelian Projects, which is all about finding their clients the best building deal for their dream home or investment, offering turnkey house and land packages to suit first home buyers and experienced investors in Newcastle, Hunter Valley, Lake Macquarie, and the Central Coast. Kerri-Ann has been in business for herself for an impressive 12 years and still going, no mean feat alone, but particularly when she's carving a brilliant space within an industry that's typically dominated by men. She's your broker and new build wing woman, one of the only women in Australia with their own range of house plans who has created not just forever homes or great investments for clients, but over $50 million in sales, dealing strictly in new builds. We do love a niche. Being in business for 1 year, 1 minute, like 1 day at the moment is hard enough. So I know I'm going to learn so much with this chat and you will too. Kerri-Ann, welcome to Unemployed and Afraid.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. And I do love the on-brand orange. It is
Yes.
very enjoyable for me.
That's what everyone knows me about. Yes, I love my orange suit and everyone always comments on it. But yes, I love it. Love a good suit.
I love it too. And we're going to chat a little bit about personal branding and the role that's played for you, as I think that's a really interesting part. But before we get to that, I'd love to know how your best friend might describe you.
A warrior, as in worry, not a worry. Worry, who worries a lot, I suppose. Someone who loves their family absolutely fiercely, my hubby and my kids. And probably someone, actually, my sister would say I was born in the wrong century because I love anything 1800s, 16, 17, 1800s. I will go around to old buildings. Actually, my cousin saw me do that not that long ago and thought I was weird and just touch them. I just love anything old building, old architecture, anything from the 16, 17, 1800s. That's just me. So yes, I would love to have been born then, but obviously with all the vaccinations.
Yeah, that seems kind of important for that time of life. But I love that. I mean, you know, we've got to all have something we're drawn to. It's been quite some time that you've been in business now. So I'm going to cast your mind back a little bit and think about the seed moment, you know, what brought you to this idea of not just starting your own business, but starting this business in particular.
Yeah.
What brought you there?
Well, I was approaching 40 and I was working for someone who was not a very nice work environment, quite toxic actually. And then I just wanted to do something for myself. I just didn't want to work for anyone else anymore. And I just was sick of working for someone else. I'm not a very good employee. So I don't like working for people actually, and people telling me what to do. So actually I got together with my sister and we she wanted to do something as well. And we thought, well, yeah, let's start. My husband is actually a mortgage broker and he had actually been selling house and land packages. And he actually had said this idea, well, why don't we start a house and land packages, selling house and land packages? And yeah, so my sister and I started it together. And then after a few years, we actually separated the business because she took the property management side with her. And so the business was completely separated and I held on to the sales side of things. So yeah, so it was mainly that approaching 40, I wanted to do something more with my life, wanted to contribute more. Also that flexibility with the kids. My kids were teenagers by then. My daughter was very much into dancing, so I had so many Stedfords and all that to go to. And the basic thing is I just don't like anyone telling me what to do. That's the big thing.
I think a lot of people will relate to that being a terrible employee aspect. Now, going into business, you will know this. You've been doing it a lot longer than I have. There's a funny moment where you kind of get into it thinking, oh, I love being my own boss and, I just want to do my own thing, autonomy. And then there's that moment when you get clients and all of a sudden you don't have one boss, you have 13, 14,
Yes.
a few to work with. So talk to me about how you approached then establishing a really positive relationship with people you're working with to make sure you didn't feel that.
Yeah, I think it's more about being honest with people and authentic and telling them, especially in building, telling it's all warts and all. And with my clients, I contact them every 2 weeks and tell them exactly what's going on. So it's just, and obviously rain effects and supply. And I mean, what happened in COVID, all supply materials and trades, it just all went out the window. So I think it's just being, authentic and honest with clients, just letting them know exactly what's happening, the good and the bad of building. I mean, building, I think, is absolutely amazing. But sometimes, there can be some pretty shitty times.
So what was it like for you working with family in those early days? So husband and sister, that's, a full gamut. What was that experience like?
Well, my husband wasn't actually involved in the business. It was basically his idea, but we do work from home. We have our offices side by side. I think we need some more soundproofing between But it's with my sister, it was great. I suppose it was just came to the point where we knew that I really didn't want to have all that many staff. My sister wanted to, and it was just basically seeing that we were both going in different directions with the business. So she really wanted more staff, which she needed for property management side of things. She needed more people to help her. And then I was just quite happy being by myself and with my VA, just doing my own thing. So as I keep on saying, I'm not a good employee, or I probably wouldn't be a great employer of people as well with my patients. So it worked okay for the first few years. And then it was just basically, we just knew that we needed to separate the businesses.
And so how did you structure what the business would look like for you in those early days? So, sitting down with that blank piece of paper, okay, I want to be in the housing industry. This is kind of the area I want to go to. How did you start to craft what the revenue model might look like, the business model, how you would go about bringing in revenue?
Yeah, because it is hard with the building industry, especially with what I do. I mean, I only charge my clients $4.95 and then I'm paid by the builder. So, and I don't get paid till slab and frame. So if land is not registering is mean it's ready to build on, it's ready to get the plans drawn up and put it into council. So if I've sold a house and land package or someone's come to me with their land that's not registering for a year or so, I'm not going to get paid for like 18 months. So yes, the cash flow is it is hard and it's up and down. I think that's another reason too I brought in another revenue with my business is with my tender health checks. So basically looking over contracts with builders that are not my own builders, like with some of the display builders. And that's sort of like a quick sort of revenue that comes in. But I think the first thing too I did, it was in the days too, I mean, mostly people work from home now, but honestly, I walked the pavement. I walked into mortgage brokers. I get a lot of referrals from mortgage brokers, even though my husband's a mortgage broker. It's all a lovely community here. No one knows that we all know we're not going to pinch business off each other. But so mortgage brokers, they've got clients who want to build or investors, they refer to me. So I literally walked in with my brochures to begin with. I sat on land estates. I remember one of the Hunter Vardley greeter, every Saturday I'd sit there with a sales lady and, just if anyone wanted to talk to about building, I was there. Honestly, you just have to put in the work. You have to. And in those days, I walked into places and I still do that now. I still drop off, cakes to some of my mortgage brokers who've supported me throughout the years. But a lot of people, like I said, work from home. I still do letterbox dropping. Even though I'm absolutely scared stiff of dogs, dogs attacking me, but I still do that. I network. I go out and talk to people. Like, it's just so important to just talk to people because you never ever know where that conversation will lead to. I mean, they could be, around the barbecue talking to someone who's thinking of building and then your name pops up. So it was basically just getting in front of people, doing the legwork, and I'm still doing it to this day.
I think the underestimation of marketing requirements is something we all kind of have to struggle with and come to terms with. I know, Kerri-Ann, you and I were talking before this about the fact that we have one piece of content that gets created and then we go onto LinkedIn, onto Pinterest, onto TikTok, onto YouTube, onto
Yes.
Instagram, onto everything else. So not only do you have those elements, you're also doing the IRL stuff. I mean, many of us network, but like pounding the pavement and getting in front of people and putting yourself out there like that so relentlessly. How do you find the motivation and the confidence to keep showing up that way?
Yeah, and I must say, in the older days, I'll say that nearly 13 years ago, I mean, there wasn't really the social media presence wasn't really around. So then I was advertising a lot on domain and realestate.com. I mean, they are high cost items too, but now I don't do that because you just get lost. Motivation is just basically every day getting up. I always read something like a motivational book in the morning. I always have my motivational podcast when I go for a walk. It's just, well, I suppose too, when you've got no plan B, there's no, as I keep on saying, I will not go and work for someone, although a regular paycheck is very attractive. But when there's no plan B, you just have to do it like every day. And I'm not saying I'm the most positive person in the world because I'm not, as I've said before, I am a warrior. It is just getting yourself into that frame of mind, and it is constant work. As I love Jen Sincero, who has "You Are a Badass," and I always say that in American accent. You're
It's
a
hard not
badass.
to.
And you're a badass at making money. I love her books. I read them regularly, weekly. And she says you've got to go to the spiritual gym. Like it is like going to normal gym physically. You need to go mentally as well. And it's not for the faint-hearted, and you've got to work at it. And on the weekends, my podcast might be a history podcast. I will say that. I love the Tudors podcast. But during the week, it's always my business podcast. It's just getting up. I don't journal as much. I do write in my journal probably once or twice a week. And I have my vision board. I have other things up on my wall that I look at. I have my targets, what I want to make by the end of the month. Yeah, it's just a combination of all those things together. But it's hard work. Like, I do not wake up thinking rainbows and sunshine. It's like, okay, let's get my mind into that frame. And, there's other things happening too with family, with older parents, and that's a bit of a stress as well. That's coming back to, right, what am I doing? There's no plan B. I have to make this work.
Oh, the no plan B feeling is something I think that it's, again, you and I were talking about this just before we spoke, but, you reach those little breaking points, those little like micro, this is, I can't take the foot off the pedal. Like I have to actually lean in further, even though I'm tired, even though I'm feeling pressured. And, sometimes I don't know if you felt the same way, but you may start a business and you're like, okay, I've got, this amount of money set aside to get myself going and, to kind of, and I can, you get things starting to come in and cash flow starts to settle. And then you get this moment where you're like, if this doesn't work, what now? Like genuinely, it's just completely unknown. And I've certainly had that experience, and, not having that plan B in place can almost be like the greatest motivator to what it is
Yes.
that you need to do. But it can also be really soul destroying and can kind of make you go inward, I think, sometimes a little bit. Has that been something that's ever happened to you where you felt like, I don't know if I have this in me?
Yes, definitely. When you're down on the floor crying your heart out and eating a lot of chocolate. I eat a lot of chocolate. I don't drink, thank God, because I think I would be an alcoholic. And I don't drink coffee. I just drink a lot of hot chocolate and I eat a lot of chocolate. But yeah, there's definitely moments, where I've just like thought, oh my God, like how much, I mean, obviously COVID is a big thing, which happened, especially in the building industry. I had a very, very healthy 6-figure bank account, and COVID happened. And interest rates. I mean, before COVID, well, actually a little bit through COVID, we still had the grants from the government for building. So there was quite a big demand there, but then obviously all the land got swallowed up as well. And then with the supply of materials, example, like the timber, so that sort of started to dry up, and then interest rates took a big hike, and then people just didn't want to build. It's still a little bit that way now. But honestly, that bank account just came right down. So that was extremely, extremely scary. And it's still not completely out of the woods yet. So yeah, you do have your down times, really. And as I said, crying on the floor. But I just think if you just keep on those rituals, reading, podcasts, getting as many positive thoughts into your head, it's your words too, isn't it? I mean, I'm a big thing with that. And sometimes like what comes out of my mouth, I think, oh my God, you're coming from a place of lack instead of abundance. Watch yourself. And, my hubby would say sometimes, come on. Because sometimes I'll look outside and I'll think, oh my God, there's grey cloud. And he goes, there's like a little grey cloud. It's not going to rain. So checking myself with that. And it's a constant daily battle. And I mean, I don't know if that's like with everyone, but I come from, my mum is a huge warrior. Her dad was just stressed out to thing. And my mum they lost everything in the GFC, my mum and dad. And they've never recovered from it physically, emotionally. My mum got cancer. My dad got Bell's palsy. So they, in their mind, they turn to alcohol and they just drink and drink and drink because they've never been able to physically and mentally come out of that space where they lost all their money. I'm never going to be. I have to check myself every day. I will never, ever be like that. So it's just a constant making sure that my mind is there, watch my words, watch the state that you're living in. And then that's how you get through every day.
That's such a powerful thing to have shared and to have that perspective on as well, to see the things that you don't want and then to use that as the motivator to move forward in a new way. But I can just hear almost the listener, and their own scarcity complex and, fear around those sorts of things. And though that noisy voice that says, this is bad, this isn't going to be good, like that inclination that we have towards negativity, I think gets so highlighted in business because everything is so hard and it's like there's so much that could go wrong. It's kind of hard to lift yourself out of that. So I think it's hugely understandable.
Yeah. And also, again, referring back to my industry, the building industry, when the interest rates were happening as well and people's borrowing capacity was just shrunk. So I had all these contracts that were signed. And when the land eventually registered, people just couldn't build on it. So then all these contracts had to be voided. And you think, that's my income. It's all just disappearing. So it's just been tough. It's just been crazy. But yeah, as I keep on saying, there's no plan B. I'm still here. I'm 53 years old and I still got a lot more to do in my life. So I've just got to hang in there.
There are two truths about us business owners that both me and our incredible show partner Card.Gift know to be true. The first one is that we are some of the most generous humans on the planet. Maybe that's because we regularly have to push ourselves into uncomfortable spaces, learn to problem solve like crazy, and through all of that we realise how impactful the generosity of others is. Whether that's people who've supported us directly through free advice and guidance, or indirectly by sharing their story and learnings on this pod. The second thing I know is we're also often stretched on time and headspace. So whether you struggle to find the perfect gift for your friends and family, have a last minute special occasion that you're not feeling ready for, or want to say thank you to your clients, team members or support team and still make it personal, Card.Gift have got you, and here is how. You can get physical or digital gift cards for retailers like Adore Beauty, Apple, Netflix, Uber and more, like 150 plus more. They have beautiful designs on the cards and support local artists by featuring their designs. Love that. You can get a Visa, MasterCard or EFTPOS gift card, which honestly just provides endless good feels for those you give it to. I personally love being able to get exactly what I want, or just get myself some silly little treats like an overpriced smoothie and say a silent thank you to the human who gifted it to me. And you can even get hyper personal with them with a custom photo, a heartfelt message, or even a video message. And lastly, Card.Gift are the loveliest of teams. From their co-founder Nick to their marketing team of Lexi and Tash down in Melbourne, they're hardworking and care about what they do. And I value their support of this show so much as it helps me to keep supporting you to thrive. So next time you're being generous, type Card.Gift into Google and thank me later. We talked about it up front, but I always feel a smile come across my face when I do spot the orange suit because it is beautiful, but also because I have an inclination towards orange. My colours in this show are yellow, orange, red. I mean, the listener who follows me on socials in particular will know this, and you see it in all of my artwork. I'm a big fan of strong branding that's, relevant to what it is that you offer. I know how much colors can incite a feeling in people, and, considering that in your consumer and how you want to come across to them is so important. Tell me about your journey with your personal brand, what the journey has been like and what it's done for your business.
Yeah, so the orange suit is fairly new. So it's probably a couple of years. So Carnelian, which is my business name, is actually a gemstone, which is an orangey reddy color, which actually means family harmony, wealth. Yeah, so it wasn't until I had some branding shots done, would be nearly 18 months ago now, and I hired an orange suit. And I put those all out on my LinkedIn and my socials. And it wasn't until I was mentioned on a podcast that Caitlin, a lovely photographer here, said to the podcast host, "Do you know Kerri-Ann? She's in that orange suit." And Monica, the lovely podcast, said, "Oh, yeah, I know that suit." And it was only then that it really clicked. I thought, oh, okay, orange suit people are noticing me. Why that orange? I thought, right, I need to go and get an orange suit made. So I got one made at beautiful Rundle Tailoring here in Newcastle. But yeah, I've just been turning up to every networking function, as many videos as I can. I have the orange suit, and people know me from the orange suit. They just come straight up to me and say, "I know you from Instagram, the orange." I'm like, yes. So I think for me, that's an important thing. And also orange, as you know, is a beautiful, sunny, bright color, evokes happiness. And luckily it sort of goes with my tonings. And yeah, that's in Newcastle, that's what I'm known for at the moment, is my orange suit. And I love it.
I mean, I just have such a passion for so many things that you said. It is the brand and marketing nerd coming out in me. But, having something, a definitive brand asset, just something that it makes people think of you. I think, it will be no secret to the regular listener that mine is juxtaposition. So, we are unemployed and afraid, which stands for self-employed, essentially. It's being completely responsible for yourself and your earnings, in the business that you're looking at, and terrified, but with, the fear representing that growth edge. And so the branding is purposefully very bright and colorful and kind of gives you a little bit of that, friendly, fun vibe, hence the up and about music as well, because it's about that. Yes, you can have things that are scary and hard in the same breath as being incredibly joyful. And that is just what business is. It's everything all at once that you have to learn to deal with.
Together. Yeah.
One big melting pot of chaos. So there's that definitiveness of your brand is just so very important. And you're finding those ways to put yourself out there so you can stand out and be remembered and for whatever you do. I'd love to probe a little bit more into that. And do you think it has resulted in an uplift in revenue for you? Like, has it made you money? Has it sold your business?
Slowly. I mean, like I said, that's sort of about 18 months since I had that done. So I still feel I'm probably another 6 to 12 months. But I mean, only yesterday I had someone say to me, "Oh, I'm ringing you because I saw you on Instagram in your suit." So, and then wants to catch up. So, yep, slowly. I think it makes, when you go into like a room, a networking room with the orange suit, people are really like drawn to you, and it sort of goes, "Oh, okay, I know you." Because I've had so many people come up to me and go, "You don't know me, but I know you." From Instagram. So yeah, I think it's a slow burn as far as going into, converting it to sales. But honestly, I love a suit. Who doesn't love a suit? I mean, it just suits any figure, covers up the, my 53-year-old body very well. And yeah, it always looks classy. You can dress it up or dress it down. So I do think it's a bit of a slow burn as far as converting that to sales, but it's more for my own personal branding, and I love it.
No, I think there's, and I agree with you. Who doesn't love a suit? I mean, I think I work at home completely and entirely at the moment. So I look at my blazers and my cute outfits and think, gosh, I'm looking forward to putting that on at some stage. So 12 years, almost 13, is a very long time to be in business and be really committed to doing the same thing all of the time as well. So I guess it's a two-part question that I have for you, which is, how have you maintained the love of it? But also, what do you wish that you knew right back at the beginning of that journey?
First thing I wish that I knew was that I was a little bit more of a squirrel with my money. I knew what was going to happen around COVID time. That's probably the first thing, to keep the love of it. And two, my parents used to own businesses before the GFC. And my dad always said, stick to your bread and butter. I mean, you can have all these lovely, shiny things, go out and, if I wanted to go and develop 12 townhouses or whatever by ourselves. But I always thought to stick to your bread and butter. I sell turnkey house and land packages. I can help people with other things as well, like knockdown rebuilds and granny flats and developments. But the turnkey packages are my core bread and butter. So just stick to that and do it well, which I do. As far as, and to keep the love, I mean, I'm one of those weird people. Like I said, I touch old buildings, but I love the smell of paint. I love seeing a kitchen come alive. I love seeing the bathroom tiles come alive. I love helping people with color selections, even though they may not, accept my opinion. But I just love all that stuff. I love going to the Polytech place who has all the different cupboards, colors. That's just a love interior design and seeing a house grow up out of the ground. I just love it. So that passion has not died. And so I think that's what keeps me going. And I've had some truly, truly beautiful clients, like lovely, lovely people. I mean, I've had some horrors who hasn't in business. The majority of them are just beautiful. And I'm helping them provide, a shelter, their home. Sometimes it's their dream home or sometimes their investment home, but I'm helping them at this stage of their life. And I hope that they remember me for that. And that's the love of it is still there.
And you have quite a, I guess, really wonderful opportunity in today's business landscape of digital chaos and audiences being split everywhere and, trying to, some would say it's a huge opportunity in being able to access anyone at any time through digital products or digital businesses. But, I'd also argue that it becomes quite difficult to be able to think about who you serve and how you reach them and kind of stay focused with that. So you have this beautiful business model where you can service your local area and surrounds and kind of, really own that market. You mentioned before that you've developed something that helps you speak to people a little bit more outside of that as well. Can you talk to me a bit about adding that extra service, on what that looked like, why you added it on and how it's helped you?
Yeah, so my Tendo health check. So that's again $4.95. I sort of keep it very basic, $4.95 to use one of my builders and for me to guide you through, or $4.95 for my advice. It came about actually from my husband again. He had some, because being a mortgage broker, not everyone goes through me with their building. So they'd gone to one of the big display builders and he sort of said, oh, I don't think this price is right, what they're actually telling you. They're leaving a lot of things out. And he actually said to me, why don't you start looking at these tenders and bill contracts? And I do have my certificate for and building and construction and my real estate license as well. So I have that qualification behind me. And so that's where it sort of started, basically just helping people. It does get me a little bit mad about display builders who, will say there's $60,000, $70,000 off. And you get all the free things like the wine fridge and the washing machine and the dryer, but they leave essential items out. So basically they're quoting on your house on basically floating above your block of land. It's not actually on your block of land with all your services, all the cut that they need to do, excavation, soil removal, bushfire, none of those requirements. So that's where I sort of grew from. And basically it is like a quicker way to get some cash into the business as well. So it mainly came from trying to help people understand their contract or their tender and to show them what is or isn't included in that price. It just does irk me a bit that all these big building companies have these, these advertisements on TV saying 50%, $50,000 off or 70,000 cash back, and they're leaving a lot of things out. So that's where it actually started from, just trying to help people. And it's grown into like conveyancers will actually refer their clients to me because they don't have time to look through the tender or the build contract, or don't actually understand the building requirements or estate requirements.
And has that allowed you to evolve, I guess, your demographic that you're able to target in your customer base? Has that enabled you to open up to people outside of your area? And how has that changed how you market yourself?
Yeah, so that can be Australia-wide. I can look at a build contract and a build tender. So yeah, so it's definitely helped. I think it's made me basically showing people that it's not just Newcastle based, even though I have house and land packages in Queensland, but it's basically has made me put myself out there for Australia wide. So that sort of opened up that way as well. It's also helped too with, also on my website, I have some other information there as well for people. It's all about helping people and make them realize, especially the young 20-year-olds who go in. I mean, I can remember we have built 5 times, if I just say that too. We love building. We've never ever brought an existing home. We've always built. And I think, well, I'm hoping we're going to build again. But I can remember at one of our first homes, we were in our 20s, we got a free TV. We thought that was amazing. Like a free, there was, everyone has big TVs now, but it was a huge TV. We thought, oh my God, this is amazing. But we didn't know that we were going to get charged extra for soil removal. But all we could think of was the big TV, but we had no idea that we were going to be charged later on down the track. So it's just, especially those in their 20s, just making them aware. I love that I'm able to help them say, you just put this little bit extra aside rather than them freaking out later on down the track and having to ask mum or dad for money or putting my extra money on their credit card, that I make them aware that, some of those prices are not really true.
So what has been keeping you up at night at the moment? If businesses are kind of ticking along and things are happening and, we're coming out the other side of some big changes, what's the thing that concerns you about your business right now?
I think it's still cash flow. We're still not quite out the end of what's happened with the interest rate hikes. I mean, I talked to everyone in the industry. I was talking to some ladies who sell land the other day, and we all just said we just need one interest rate reduction, like interest rate cut, and I think we'll be right. So it's still tough out there in the industry. I know that there's still a lot of land available. Now, whereas, just before what happened with COVID and we had the grants, all the land was snapped up. People were just buying land sight unseen, really. It was before land was registered and that. So there is a lot of land still out there. So I think that's mainly, it's just the cash flow. I can see that my marketing's working. I can see that my branding's working. I'm definitely getting more inquiry through. I've got some more development happening as far as people coming to me with knockdown rebuilds and wanting to build, 2 or 3 units on it. So I can see that sort of coming in. But it's still the normal, I would say the normal person building their first home or their forever home is still that little bit worried. So that, I suppose, keeps me up at night, just wondering how to put things in motion to make sure that I do survive, that I know that it's going to come back, but it's going to be, I still think it's another 6 to 12 months away before it's sort of back to a normal stage. And we might see that, existing homes are more expensive than building because it was the other way around before. And what's been happening in the media, I mean, the media has just scared people so much about building because of what builders have been going broke and that. But I feel like we're at the end of that now, but I still think that's a little bit, people are scared of that and they're worried about the interest rates. But I still think we're about 6 months away from it all sort of leveling out.
Yeah, I think it's hard to not blame the media for most problems we have because so often they are the problem, right? I say this as somebody who's worked in media for a very long time that, the language and the influence that they have is just, it's so much more powerful than we realize. And I have found that quite a lot with the conversation about small business lately as well. There are so many conversations had in the media about the struggles of small business and about the, how much small businesses are failing, everything from, those who were making massive money and as influencers are now going back to 9 to 5, like that's a death sentence. And, just the narrative of small business, let alone specifically your industry as well, is really, really damaging.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about your point that you brought up earlier about filling your mind with positive growth stories as well, and being sure that as much as there is fear and there is change and there is things out of our control that often happen, it's certainly not all doom and gloom for everybody all of the time. And I think it's really important to remember that there are so many small businesses thriving. I've spoken to so many of them and will speak to so many more of them as well, who are starting businesses at the depths of quote unquote tough economic times, that they're growing into multi-million-dollar businesses that will fund families for generations. And it's important to keep that perspective that there's so much positive growth in certain business areas as well, and can happen in your own. So how is that looking for you?
Yeah.
How are you keeping your energy up and about and your growth planning? Are there any pivot plans for the future? Where do you want to grow to?
I want to be doing my own homes. I have a little idea about a little TV show I'd like to do as well.
Just a small idea.
Yes. I mean, I devour all the renovation shows and the, Selling Houses Australia and all that. But yeah, the goal is to be building and selling my own. I mean, I love the interior design aspect of it as well. So that's sort of been put a little bit on the back burner, but I can feel that's going through. And just going back to, hard economic times as well. I mean, my background too is as I said, my parents had businesses, so they had real estate agencies. And I mean, that was before. I mean, a lot of people in real estate now have never really sort of experienced these sort of times where it's, all the stocks dried up and people aren't buying, every second. I mean, but going back to like the early 90s when I was working in real estate, and that I remember my dad saying, it's just a cycle of life. There's always going to be people out there, dying, who need to buy a new home, who get divorced. Like, the economy is still going to be moving. It's just not like the boom times that a lot of people, have only ever experienced. So yeah, but definitely there's more things on my mind that I want to do. I'm actually doing something that's sort of scary and exciting where I'm doing Stars of Newcastle. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's actually dancing at Civic Theatre here in Newcastle in September. We're raising money for Cancer Council. So that's the fundraising bit is a little bit scary for me, but I'm not so scared about the dancing. Although I had my first dance lesson this week, and because I used to dance when I was younger, and now I thought, oh, I'll be fine. And now I'm trying to do a routine. I'm thinking, oh God, I've needed so much practice. So that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. So that's immediately on my future timeline, is dancing in Civic Theatre, which I danced when I was 7. I remember I had a little bumblebee outfit on. So yeah, I'll be on that stage again here at 53. So I'm so excited for that. But long term, definitely, I would like to do my own homes. I sort of feel in my 60s I'll be getting into the area of, helping homeless people. And there's also that TV show I've got in mind. So yeah, in between, I just want to help people build their homes and make it as happy and easy process as possible.
It is true that you absolutely never know where business is going to take you on these pathways. There are so many things that you end up getting involved with just through the process of having a business, connecting with people and doing things that, yeah, I'm sure you didn't have dance competition to raise money on your bingo card, but that is the joy of being in business for yourself, is that we bring so many new opportunities in. So, and of course, as I share with my guests and my listeners all the time, like the generosity of our small business community, and small business is a term I always feel really cautious of using, because it is a technical term for, where we find ourselves, but it's also a bit underrepresentative of the scale in which businesses operate, from, micro through to, massive agencies or product, e-coms moving huge. It's all so important. So to classify it more as business, but this specific community, those who are doing their own thing, who are at the forefront, who are back out there sharing their story and helping other people come through, is such a gift. Like, I'm so grateful for it, and so grateful to be able to bring it to the listener. So how can we support you in your goals to, give a little bit of thanks for sharing what your journey has been?
Well, follow me on socials. So Carnelian Projects on Facebook and Instagram. On LinkedIn, I'm under my name. I do have my business name there, but I don't really post from there. So it's Kerri-Ann Hooper. If anyone's out there who can help me with Pinterest, please get in contact, because I'm on Pinterest with under Kerri-Ann Hooper, and on TikTok as well under Kerri-Ann Hooper as well, and YouTube. Carnelian Projects. I'm across all of it. I don't know how well I'm doing, but give me a follow. And I'm always happy to chat about, virtual chat or around Newcastle. Always happy to catch up. A coffee, hot chocolate for me, if you want to talk about building, great. But I'm always happy to chat to other business owners, because I think as much as we can support each other, I know with networking in Newcastle, I've just made so many wonderful friends who it's just nice, especially working for yourself. It's just nice to go to networking events and just talking to other people. Obviously I've got lovely clients, but talking to other business owners and just seeing how they're navigating, this current climate as well. Yeah. So yeah, just give me a follow on socials. That'd be lovely.
Very relatable to have all of the socials. I feel exactly the same way. I have all of them. If ever somebody wants to get in touch with me, I'm like, well, basically just bang my name into any social media platform or my podcast's name and you will find me. So I'll make sure to put the links in the show notes for the listener to be able to go and get around you. Kerri-Ann, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you and hearing your story today. Thank you for being here with me.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to Unemployed and Afraid, the podcast for small business builders with your host, me, Kim Curtin. If you love it, you can say thanks with a star rating and a review. And of course, join the community on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Find us at Unemployed and Afraid wherever you're hanging out, and I'll see you there.